Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Conversations You Don't Want to Have with Jayola Tessie. And today I am going to be discussing about um why artists must explore out of their comfort zone. Because apparently for some artists they feel so comfortable with a certain niche which they started their career with, and once this niche ends up being profitable financially and brings the fame as well, they tend to want to stick to that niche instead of taking it from a ground zero to 10 to 20 and make it 100 by making sure they evolve with their sound. They just want to continue doing the same thing. And on this topic I'm going to be making case studies of some artists with this kind of ideal, and why in one way or the other it has actually affected their craft and their fan base. But before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe to all my social media channels, Timeline of a Gemini for my TikTok and my Instagram, 60 Minutes TV Entertainment and News for my YouTube, and you can follow me on Facebook, 60 Minutes 60 MINS TV, 60 Minutes TV, and Twitter apparently is Timeline of a Gem with a 9. That's for my Twitter, and for most of you upcoming artists out there, always remember you can reach out to me anytime you need your music advice and how to go about your budget. So let's get straight into it. See, the reality is that music is a universal language, and we all know. But the use of what's the use of your universal language when it is not, when the melody behind it, let me say the beat itself is not universal enough for um the targeted audience to relate with. That's like you wasting your time. That is, as a Nigerian guy, even if I'm going to do piano, it has to be relatable. Uh, Apparently, most people don't understand what Ashake is saying, but with the help of the beat, he's been able to like pass his message across. So whenever they tell you that music is a universal language, they are not telling you that it's a music universal language that people should just relate to. All they are saying is when you apply the right elements, the right melody, the right mixing, the right um transition and everything, the right modulation, the right production, the right process of creativity behind it, that is when it becomes a universal language that even a Spanish person can relate to. I'll be talking about an artist that we expected, or I expected so much from, but at the end of the day, it couldn't really meet up to the expectation. That's like Flavor. Flavor is a very good artist, but have you ever asked yourself the question of how come it's hard for Flavor to actually crossover like a standard crossover artist and having all these deals? Same thing applies to this great guy Casey. Both of them somehow opened the way to the Nigerian music industry and the South African music industry, whereby they go to that place, do their music and their musical videos there, and you're not going to take that credit away from them, because these two major guys, aside them Whiskey and Davido, these two major guys went to South Africa, started shooting their videos in South Africa, which um actually paved way for Nigerian music in South Africa. All Nigerian artists in South Africa, Limpopo, KC went to do Baby Had a Catch Cold, and which all those songs were highly played on South African music platform a lot. Trace Africa, for example, they can't do without playing Catch Cold and Ashao Awusa. We know how global that song went. For some people that doesn't know, that song was everywhere. Pullover was everywhere. Limpopo was everywhere. Baby, give it to me tonight was everywhere in Africa and in some other Europe country. We are not going to take that away from them. But what happened after all these things? Because these were the years them Davido as well were popping in abroad. Whiskey, um, maybe semi pop for Olamide. But some of our artists apparently were already doing all these things in these other countries. And likes of KC that we were expecting all these deals, likes of Flavor that we were expecting all these deals to come for, never happened. It is simply because their sound remains same. Their ability to explore and um create a situation whereby versatility and um making their sound and their niche a diverse one actually affected their kind of music, not their brand per se, because their brand still remains their brand. Flavor, for example, he stationed himself in a tribal niche whereby everything is about the Igbo market, the East market, and the thing is not really there for for him to market. That could have been a case for Fino as well. But at least Fino had Olamide. Maybe Fino at the end of the day subscribed to the Olamide idea of not paying $50,000 to, you know, feature big artists in their projects, which might have been the reason why Fino might have been backward a little. Because Fino was a good rapper. I might not understand Igbo, but you can literally tell that there are some punchlines coming in some of the things he's saying. Now, Flavor and Casey that had the opportunity, blowing up everywhere, destroying everywhere with their music and everything. What happened at the end of the day? They couldn't cross over per se. They couldn't cross over. The deals were not coming because their sound, their tune, their niche is limited to just the locals, and that's not a good thing. As an artist, irrespective of how it goes down for you, I'll always tell you, if you are singing or rapping in Yoruba, the hip hop part of it that makes it a marketable project is very important. Look at Terry Akpala, for example. Terry Akpala does Akpala hip hop, but what makes him a diverse and a unique artist remains the ability to carry that Akpala, turn it to something that the whole world can relate to. That's a thing. This guy went as far as even having a remix or remake of Shape of You by Ed Sheeran. Look at what he did to that song, and it turned it to a proper banger that the whole world were vibing to. That's what I'm saying about being diverse with your niche. Don't let it just be there. There's this guy as well, Nessie B. That's another artist that I listen to. The way he combined his Yoruba rap with the English rap and how it comes with some figurative expressions and the punchline is a thing for me. I listen to this guy. You can check him out, Nessie B, on all the streaming platforms. I listened to some of all these projects and I was like, yeah, this is what the international markets are asking for. This is what they want to market. Another example is Orisha Femi. If you listen to music very well and storytelling in music, what's the difference between Orisha Femi and Burna Boy? They kept talking about trenches, they kept talking about the government and everything. It was working for Orisha Femi. We go for politician, Koboko, mercies of the Lord, all those things were coming. And he had whatsoever with Young Six that was making everything look like, yeah, everything was going to be different. But what happened at the end of the day? He couldn't keep up. And that's what makes Burna Boy very different, because Burna Boy stuck to that niche and not just sticking to it. Burna Boy was evolving that niche, which was what Orisha Femi ought to have done. Look for a producer that can make this sound more acceptable, not just for the trenches people, not just for Nigerian listeners, but for listeners outside of the country. That was what Burna Boy was able to apply into his kind of music and help him to evolve. So in a nutshell, for all the artists that are out there, learn to make sure there is diversity in your music. Don't just stay in your comfort zone and say, this is what I am known for and this is what I'll continue dish out. Go and listen to Terry Akpala again. Go and listen to Nessie B. Go and listen to Burna Boy. Go and listen to even Wizkid. The way they made sure that their tune ends up being diverse and become a marketable project or product for the international market. So guys, always remember this: diverse, evolve. That's the key to sound different and to get all this international deal. Till I come your way some other time, still remain Jayola Tesikuni Baja, baby. Don't forget to subscribe to all my channel. Peace out.